So the reader asks, wondering if you could perhaps do a segment or two to discuss what we should expect when we decide to sell some coins or to liquidate our holding when the time comes. Well, hello there, my friends. Chris Mark is here with you for Arcadia Economics, live from the Silver Vault in Mexico, aka the silver capital of the world. And today, a video about a question that I get quite a bunch received recently of, all right, if silver goes up, the COMEX is exposed as a Ponzi scheme that clobbered its customers in 1980 and will very well likely do something similar again. And people wonder, well, if that occurs, how will I sell my silver? Silver bugs. We're always finding things to worry about, but we will dig into that today. There is good news. Quick look on a Friday morning. We see the price of silver actually up 25 cents today. Did not get carpet bombed downward at 10 a.m. as was the case the last two trading days. So ending the note on a nice week. And before we dig in, I'd like to mention that this episode is sponsored by Summa Silver. Now, you may have already known Galen McNamara before he was on the show a couple of weeks ago, but at least as I've gotten to know him, one of the darn most impressive people that I've had on the show so far. And look at Galen, there he goes again, increasing the size of his Hughes property by nearly 50%. Staking an additional 1,280 acres prospective for high-grade silver. So look at him in the midst of a global hyperinflation campaign, out there buying silver projects of that asset that, oh, is never going to move. Banks are always going to manipulate, blah, blah, blah. And then, or he could be out buying silver projects with Galen, something I've been thinking about quite a lot. Here he mentions we continue to be impressed but unsurprised by the potential of the Tonopah district and the surrounding area, and link to that news in the description field below. But now on to the issue here of how would you sell the silver? And I was looking before we hit the record button at some of the online dealers, and I was a little surprised because I thought I remembered some of them having buyback prices, but here is the American Silver Eagle. Now it says 37.29, although look at that, 39 if you get 1 to 19 of them with spot price 26.30. That means we're looking at a 50% premium. And I don't see the buyback price on here. I thought SD Bullion used to have it on there. Perhaps they're due somewhere that I am not seeing here, but yeah, it's a reasonable question. Now it's interesting at the same time where people are saying, oh, the manipulation's never gonna end, ready to throw in the towel. And then some people are worried how to sell their silver when it's $50 or $100. Fortunately, you're always welcome to email arcadia@milesfranklin.com. Andy Scheckman will buy back your silver. And even if you just want pricing, arcadia@milesfranklin.com, you could say, hey, I have these many silver eagles, a couple bars, whatever it is you have, and ask what is the buyback price. Now, at the current moment, I'm not seeing those day to day. I leave that to Andy, and Yara, who mans the Arcadia@milesfranklin.com inbox, can give you more specific information. Although as I look over these, the pricing, and there's been a lot of things that have been going on behind the scenes, but here we have 50% over on American Eagles. I'm checking with Andy next time we get on. I'll ask him to update his what he is paying for American Eagles. I'm sure there's some bid price from APMEX and SD Bullion. But here even silver rounds, $30.19. That's on the 500 plus. I mean, 31.19, almost $5 over 26.30 spot, $4 to $5 over. And that's on the silver rounds. I mean, you see on a bunch of these coins, and these are the best sellers, 10-ounce bars. So you move the decimal over, that's 30.99. So that's still almost $4 on 10-ounce bars. And it's interesting because, as we've talked about quite a bit on the show in the past year, I kept wondering, when the premiums are this high, how come nobody who can take delivery on the COMEX is doing so and minting products or creating alternatives? I never really got an answer, so I started looking into it, and that's one of the projects I'm going to be involved in. And certainly from what I've been hearing so far, to tighten a lot of these spreads seems like it will be doable. I'll have more information as we get more things confirmed, but I just think about it, how the marketplace we have for silver, where someone's here, maybe they hear about the Fed's hyperinflation campaign, they look over, they see, all right, silver's 26.20, let's call it. Then they go to buy silver, it's already $5 or $10 or $13 higher. And there's not really a clear way to know, well, what can you get back for it? So I can understand why it's a scary place, especially for new customers, where there is a lot that's broken, which now with my pledge to, manipulation, this and that, fortunately, the positive to that is there's plenty of things to fix and offer solutions to, which is what I'm excited about shifting my focus towards. Now, you might be saying, Chris, it sounds like an interesting idea, but why would you be telling everyone and giving away the secret? Well, I will answer that, and that's just the level of my faith and confidence in the laws of free market economics. I would imagine if I am successful in my mission here to tighten the spreads and create a better marketplace for the customer, that there might be some groups that, if that cuts into their profit margin, might not be happy about that. And that's okay. Although I just keep thinking about, you have the stock market where these things are penny wide. People are all making plenty of money, and you're bringing a better marketplace to the customer. And anyway, those are the things I'll be looking forward to doing in the silver market, including offering bids. So if let's say we have this scenario where there's some sort of issue or cash settle on the COMEX and nobody knows what the price is, and you're calling the dealers and they're saying, if you want an ounce of physical silver, it's going to be $100. Okay. So let's say that you have silver that you're willing to sell. That's where the role of a market maker comes into place, which fortunately is exactly what I was trained to do back at Susquehanna when I was an options market maker. And something I've been thinking about over the years would be fun, but it always seemed a little opaque and confusing, as many of the things are in the silver world, although fortunately I get to talk to all these different people. And I find that when your intention is just to genuinely offer solutions that make the end experience better for the customer, that things really go well. So by all means, anyone who is thinking about similar things, I would consider you a peer, not a competitor. And I applaud anyone who figures out how to make this process better for the customers. Currently, I am looking into refinery options, smelting. We have Rafi Farber is getting us set up to take delivery of a COMEX contract. We'll see if we ever actually get silver out of there, but if we do, we're deciding what we'll do with those bars. I want to keep one for posterity's sake. Maybe we'll make one available, auction it off. We're looking into melting them down. I know Jim Forsyth, Citizens for Sound Money, they're cutting bars into chunks. So I'm looking at all options so that the premium or the spread between the bid and the ask, what you would get to sell it back at and what you would pay for it, where right now is often quite wide. And so far, my preliminaries show that it will be feasible to help in there somewhere. So perhaps the short answer to the question of what could you do if you have your metal, and I'll read what this fellow said, if I may. We'll leave him nameless, but he's been watching YouTubers, been stacking silver coins for a long time, recently tried to sell some to raise cash. He found that no matter what the current dealer's selling price of the coin, the dealers only offered him a fraction of the spot price when he went to sell it. He was very disturbed and reconsidered all of his stacking views. Now let's think about that for a second. That's somewhat disheartening. Here's someone that was interested in silver, but just because of the buy and sell facilities that are in place is almost giving up on silver because of that. So if anyone is running into anything like that, please contact us at arcadia@milesfranklin.com. If it's something I need to hear about, or you're not getting a good market for what you're looking for, then let me know so we can fix that. Because I think this is a travesty that someone who's been stacking silver coins for a long time that's when people wonder what can be done to end the manipulation. Let's fix some of these things. And then you have more people buying silver, taking it off the market. And based on the LBMA's report where they were scared that they were running out of silver, I think we'd reach that break point sooner. Anyway, continue on here. So the reader asks, wondering if you could perhaps do a segment or two with one of your dealer contacts to discuss what we should expect when we decide to sell some coins or to liquidate our holding when the time comes. There's a lot about how and why to buy bullion, but a dearth of information on how and where to sell and maximize value. Well, I will add a few more thoughts there. Obviously, you can email us at Arcadia@milesfranklin. And I'd actually love to hear what it's like for people out there. And, I'm in the fortunate position that I've met a lot of the people in the industry, and you can hold me to my intention to help do the best I can to get people better service and as best pricing as possible. So someone is having trouble finding a bid, you can let me know and I'll see what I can find for you. Aside from that, I would call AppMax, call SD Bullion, JM Bullion, goldsilver.com. I've never heard of anyone not getting the product they offered or thought they were purchasing, or getting like chocolate instead of silver. Miles Franklin, you can call them. And I would in fact call them before you're worried about buying or selling. Get to know someone there. That's really the best way to go. I know in today's culture, people often feel like they're buying something from a nameless, faceless corporation. Fortunately, most of these guys come onto YouTube. I bring a lot of them on here. You can call Miles Franklin. You've heard Sheckman plenty. So you can call these places, get to know someone so that you feel like, okay, if something happens, here's Bill that I can call. I know how to reach. I've gotten to know the person. They've answered my questions. Don't buy or sell anything until you feel comfortable. But again, you can reach us at Arcadia@milesfranklin. And, if you have something to sell, by all means, contact a few places, which actually leads to another part of this project. Some of you may have seen my Arcadia Silver Exchange sign before. It's my great whiteboard where one afternoon I started mapping out really a replacement for this silly COMEX thing that until, either we'll get delivery through the COMEX contract, which we'll document it too. It's okay. We're going to document it for you. We'll find out if they'll actually give us silver. And if they do give it to us at COMEX price, seems like we'll be able to tighten the spread just taking that and minting it into products, which I couldn't wait. But if you see my beloved 5-ounce cubes here, one of my all-time favorite silver pieces, and I was thinking, gee, well, what if we make our own, which is on the way. It's coming. So when you think that, all right, well, we'll see if there's really a delivery mechanism where you can get metal out there, and then we can start tightening the spreads. Then it opens a whole world of things, such as if you were to buy metal directly from a silver producer, maybe if you knew some of them, some of the mining companies, mix in free market incentives for the entire thing. So you don't really have to do much. You let nature do its thing. And especially when you consider the COMEX, if the actual intention was a pure and honest exchange where you're finding true price discovery, some of the features, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can replicate some of the things that are done there, maintain the integrity of it where it's buying and selling. Maybe even notice that Veritasium and Reggie Middleton have built the infrastructure for an online order book. How cool would that be if For example, you knew that Arcadia Silver Exchange was taking delivery of COMEX contracts, minting approved bars with stamps in some way. You know, we can talk to the experts of how do you know it's actually silver, make that as transparent and secure as possible. Then you could have market makers with incentives on both sides to tighten that spread. It really becomes glorious. And if anyone's interested in getting involved in such a thing like that, that's another thing you can email Arcadia at Miles Franklin for. Because as I promised when I launched the Silver Industry Integrity Committee, and I know I have a couple emails in there to respond to, but we had these list of projects of things that were to promote integrity, transparency, accountability, and free market trading in the silver market. And while I haven't had an official update on behalf of the committee lately, we have been playing hard behind the scenes, not working, of course, to make solutions to some of these things, of which the Arcadia Silver Exchange, which we'll be talking more about in coming weeks, month. But in addition to that, also, there's other good things, such as the Silver Coalition by Silver Joe, dedicated to restoring integrity to the silver market, a voluntary organized international collective of the most trusted and respected names in the silver place. And their goal is to offer the public an alternative to the banker-controlled spot price of silver, which once it is up and running, you'll actually be able to see the price that people can buy or sell at on some standard products like a 1 ounce round, 100-ounce bar, or a 1,000-ounce bar where dealers are participating. Here is some of the participants already lined up. Look at that, David Stein of Kuya Silver, Andy Scheckman of Miles Franklin, Craig Hemke of TF Metals, the great David Morgan, Larissa Sprott, Jim Forsyth. There we go. It's the Citizens for Sound Money. Jim Sinclair is on board. Chris Marcus of Arcadia Economics, Bill Holter, Christopher Aaron, Mario and Echo. I mean, I know a lot of people like the LBMA and their membership committee, but look at the people involved in this one, supporting just getting some transparent free market pricing for the actual price of silver, not this silly thing. And then if you combine that with some of the things that are being built in here, then when you add the cherry on top, which is that really the concept of silver-backed banking products such as fixed incomes or annuities or retirement plans. Now, it sounds far out there, yet when you consider just a regular mortgage product, you're just changing the underlying asset. So all sorts of things like that become possible when we have heroes like Joe and all of these other folks out there saying, you know what, maybe things aren't ideal, but let's redirect that frustrated energy into finding the solutions, which brings about the break point in the fractional reserve Ponzi scheme, even a little sooner than it already would have otherwise occurred. So with that said, again, short answer, if you need help selling your silver, Arcadia at milesfranklin.com. We'll be happy to help, give you information for free. There's no cost or consultation there. And that is what we are going to do towards that cause. Lastly, in wrapping up, thank you again to Galen of Summa Silver, who is focused on new discoveries in a famous historic district. And to find out more about that, well, that video is coming your way now.